What do you need to know about Tennessee? Here are 10 things that are random/important to know when it comes to the state of Tennessee. The reason I'm making this video is because I was recently on a call with someone that has found me on YouTube or whatever, and he was like, some people don't even know this stuff about Tennessee, and they're from there. And I was like, maybe I need to brush up on my own Tennessee knowledge. So that being said, here's 10 things to know about Tennessee. Number one, the state of Tennessee has 2 time zones, and this always trips people out for whatever reason. Obviously, I'm from Tennessee, so it's not weird to me, and I've also lived in Memphis, which is a different time zone than Knoxville. So Knoxville and like the eastern part of Tennessee are Eastern time zone. Memphis and Nashville are Western. Chattanooga is also Western. Memphis is in the west part of Tennessee. But Nashville and Memphis are Central time. And essentially, if you leave Knoxville and you drive west and you hit Crossville, Cookeville, you've hit the Central time zone. Just past like Rockwood, just past that, outside of Knoxville, we switch into Central time zone. So 2 time zones. Knoxville is in the Eastern time zone. McGee-Tyson Airport, which is our regional airport for East Tennessee, is in Eastern time. Nashville, as I said, is Central. So 2 time zones. It does not split the state in half. Is that time zone thing, whatever you call that, it doesn't split the state in half. It's mostly Central, but part of us are in Eastern time. So, number 2, why is Tennessee called the volunteer state? And if you didn't know that, our nickname is the volunteer state. And this goes back to the War of 1812. I think this is super cool. At the time, so this goes back to 2 different things. The War of 1812, at which time the number of volunteers for the war were like crazy. More than we needed. The militia just showed up, showed out, people volunteered. It was crazy. Well, then this idea of the volunteer state later became even more popular because in 1848, James K. Polk, the president of the state at the time, asked for 6,000 volunteers in the War of 1848 in the Mexican-American War, okay? He asked, oh, I'm wrong. Why is Tennessee called the volunteer state? I don't know if you knew that that's our nickname, but we're called the volunteer state. And even like University of Tennessee football, University of Tennessee sports in general, University of Tennessee, go Vols, stands for volunteer, although many people think it's the Vols. It's not. It's volunteer, so Vols, go Vols. This name first came about in 1812 when a bunch of people showed up as part of the militia, tons of volunteers. Well, fast forward to 1848 in the Mexican-American War. The president of the state at the time, James K. Polk, asked for 2,600 volunteers. And guess how many showed up? Let me get this number right. 30,000 Tennesseans showed up to volunteer. So this is why we get our name, the Volunteer State. And I think it's awesome. All right. Also, side note to volunteer/Tennessee, like what we're called, we're nicknamed the Volunteer State, but we're obviously called Tennessee. The name Tennessee, no one is quite sure where that came from, although there are 2 Native American tribes, Tanasi and the other one I'm not sure how to pronounce, Tanasi, I know how to say that for sure, just because Camp Tanasi is the Girl Scout camp, and I've been there multiple times. I had a silver award, or have a silver award, whatever. But there's Tennessee, and the thought is like those sound like Tennessee, so, you know. Number 3, how many states touch Tennessee? Or border Tennessee, whatever you want to say. It is not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. It's 8 states border Tennessee, and those are, I have to read them because otherwise I get confused. North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Virginia, so they're north, and then way on the west, Missouri and Mississippi. So 8 total states bordering Tennessee. And just for context, Tennessee stretches 432 miles from one end to the other. It takes you all day to drive from one side to the other. It is a super long state. Think about like if you took California and you flipped it this way. Okay, number 4. I almost didn't include this because let's just be honest. Sometimes the people on the internet are rude a-holes. You know what I mean? And the intention of this video is to be informative, to be helpful. Maybe there's going to be some entertainment. Like you're going to think, okay, this is interesting. But the intention is not to start some like nonsense, craziness, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to keep this really broad, and because I do get this question, and so I'm going to answer it because I do think it's important, but I also want to just make the disclaimer. You need to keep your hate to yourself if you got hate, okay? Your hate is not my problem. And if you're spewing hate on the internet, maybe you need to look inside. Look inside your soul, you know? Anyways, okay, so here's the question. What are the politics like in Tennessee? So I'm going to keep this very simple. Most people would describe Tennessee as more of a Republican state than a Democratic state, and that's simply based on how voting has gone. Okay, so I just want to say that there are places, according to the internet, where you would see more conservative or more liberal or Democratic type views, and those are going to be in your larger areas like Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, Chattanooga, Clarksville, Jackson, Tennessee. So anyways, I would say if you were going to had to pick Republican or Democrat, you would say Republican. But again, Tennessee, and something that's great about Tennessee is you have a lot of different kinds of people in terms of like from everything from religion to like way of life or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I'm just going to leave that there. Okay. Keep your hate to yourself. If you're having hateful thoughts, I'm sorry. Okay, number 5. What is the meaning of the 3 stars on the Tennessee state flag? We call this the tri-star or the tri-star flag. If you Google right now Tennessee state flag, you're gonna see a flag. It's red, and in the center you have 3 stars, and there's some blue going on over here at the end, which is supposedly only for like aesthetic purposes. Like supposedly that blue stripe on the end doesn't mean anything. 3 stars stand for the 3 regions of the state, which is East, Middle, and West Tennessee. I also want to point out that these 3 sections or parts of the state are very diverse in geography. So for example, East Tennessee is where the Great Smoky Mountains are. Nashville sits like on a plateau, and then both Nashville and Memphis are way more flat, but Memphis is like way flat in comparison to both Nashville and East Tennessee. So you kind of have those 3 central places within each of the parts. Knoxville, East Tennessee, Nashville, Middle Tennessee, and Memphis is West Tennessee. Again, Middle and West Tennessee are in Central Time, where Eastern Tennessee is in Eastern Time. All right, number 6. What is the weather like in Tennessee? And the number 1 word I would use to describe the weather in Tennessee is mild. We don't get crazy like snowstorms. We also don't get like 100-degree temperatures. Like it's rare if that happens, right? So in the winter, thinking about, roughly, it says this one resource I found about weather in Tennessee says that there are 4 distinct seasons in Tennessee, which I would agree with. You easily have summer, fall, winter, and spring. Easy. Spring is beautiful. Fall is bananas gorgeous because we have the mountains and the trees, and oh my gosh, it's beautiful. But you do have 4 true seasons, but none of them are like extreme when it comes to winter and summer. So this one resource I found says that on average, you have a high temperature in the winter of 49 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 30. And I would say that that's pretty accurate. Like less than 30 degrees Fahrenheit is not a typical situation in the winter. And then in the summer, the average high of 89 degrees and an average low of 67 degrees. So extremely mild. Now, right now it's August as I'm recording this, and it feels hot as hell outside. But that's because it's humid here. So if you want dry heat, don't come here. Okay? Just telling you, we don't got it. It's humid, there's mosquitoes, and you sweat like a pig. Okay? Or maybe you don't sweat. Maybe you're one of those people. And I'm going to keep my hate to myself. You know what I mean? Because earlier I was like, don't spread your hate. Well, if you're not a sweater, good for you. Okay, number 7. What are Tennessee's largest cities? So I'm going to tell you our 4 largest cities. Nashville is largest by far with a population of around 700,000 people as of 2022-ish. Similar cities in size are like Seattle, which has 733,000 people. Austin, Texas is larger. They have 964,000. So Austin's a lot larger, 200,000 more people. Indianapolis, 882, and then Charlotte, North Carolina, 879. So most comparable would be like the size of Seattle to Nashville. But Nashville is our largest city, and it is also the capital of the state. Next biggest is Memphis at 621,000 people, and this is comparable to the size of like Boston, Massachusetts, Portland, Oregon, and Louisville, Kentucky. Most similar to Louisville. And actually, Raleigh is smaller. Raleigh has 469,000. So anyways, Memphis is that same kind of Boston, which I was shocked by. I would have thought Boston has billions of people, but according to this, it doesn't. Anyways, okay, 3rd largest is Knoxville, and actually Knoxville and Chattanooga are very similar in size. Knoxville is said to have a population of 195,000, where Chattanooga has a population of 184,000, which I think is interesting because in my mind, Chattanooga is like this big. But it's actually not. It's very similar to Knoxville in size. Cities that are comparable in size to Knoxville and Chattanooga are Salt Lake City, with 237,000 people, and Grand Rapids, Michigan with 197,000 people. So Nashville is our largest. Chattanooga would be the 4th largest. Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, and Chattanooga are our 4 largest cities. All right, let's talk about taxes. Number 8, taxes in Tennessee. You have most likely heard, if you've been doing any research on Tennessee, that we do not have a state income tax here, which is correct. We do not have a state income tax in the state of Tennessee. And like I was just looking just for stats sake. So if you you will pay $0 of Tennessee state taxes on your pre-tax income of $40,000. You will pay 0 federal taxes on that number, about $1,600. And these are just numbers I pulled from the internet. So just, you know what I'm saying? These are examples. So don't be like, well, that's going to be my situation. You know what I mean? Anyways, okay, so 0 income tax. Tennessee is a tax-friendly state towards retirees. There is no Social Security tax here. Withdrawals from retirement accounts are not taxed. Wages are taxed at normal rates, and your marginal state tax is 0.0%. Public and private pension and income are not taxed. So if you're going to be taxed at the federal level, but not at the state level when it comes to your income tax. And also note that property taxes. Tennessee's property taxes are low in comparison to other states nationally. The average effective property tax rate is 0.56%, which is the 14th lowest in the U.S. This says that most Tennessee homeowners pay around $1,300 annually on property taxes. And what's funny is I've had a number of clients from places like New Jersey. This always seems to come up with my people from New Jersey. And I'll tell them like how much the taxes are, and they're like per month, and I'm like, no, that's per year, $1,300 per year, which I think is cool because they're like, well, that's what we pay every month. No, ma'am, Pam, it is much cheaper. Property taxes, much cheaper. And then also sales tax. Now, Tennessee does have a high sales tax, so it's kind of this balance of there's no income tax, but we do have a high sales tax. Tennessee has one of the highest sales tax in the U.S. The state rate is 7%, and this is supplemented by local rates that can be as high as 2.75%. On average, the total rate paid by Tennessee residents is 9.61%. In Knoxville, 9.75% sales tax. So anyways, we've got a higher sales tax, but there's no income tax. So it's kind of a balance in terms of that. They don't balance each other out because they just don't, but I'm just telling you, sales tax, yes, is higher. But when it comes to property and income tax, much better. All right, number 9, sports. What are sports like in Tennessee? For someone that's a sports fan, I would say that sports are a huge thing for Tennesseans. Knoxville is the home of the University of Tennessee, which is part of SEC, which is the Vols. People bleed orange, literally. They're obsessed. Literally, it's all we can wait for. And now, like, for a long time, obviously our women's basketball team dominated, and now we're seeing a lot of our teams dominate. And even though Tennessee football sucked, we went through the suck fest, it feels like, for the past 50 billion years. And now it's like, there's hope. There's hope in the future. Coach Heupel is bringing us out of the freaking, you know what I'm saying. Okay, so people here love sports. SEC is a huge, huge thing. SEC, like Southeastern Conference, which is, you know, the same conference as Alabama and Georgia and all that. So we've got SEC football, or SEC sports in general, okay? And then, which includes Vanderbilt, by the way, which Vanderbilt is in Nashville. When it comes to professional sports, we have the Tennessee Titans, which came to Tennessee in 1998. So you have a lot of people that grew up in Tennessee. My husband, as an example, he was born in the 70s. So his team is not the Tennessee Titans because he started watching the Steelers as a young child. There was no Tennessee National Football League team. And so you do have quite a bit of people that are not not Tennessee Titans fans in Tennessee. Well, you also then have a ton of Tennessee people that are true to their state, not calling out myself or my husband, and that cheer on the Tennessee Titans. So that's our NFL team. We do have also an NHL team, National Hockey League, and that's the Nashville Predators, and that is in Nashville. And if you ever get to go, that is so fun. I'm telling you, it is such a fun thing to do. If you've never been to an NHL game, wherever you are, go to one. They're a lot of fun. A lot of action, you know. As far as the NBA goes, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, and they're obviously in Memphis. In case you didn't know, Memphis Grizzlies in Memphis, you know. And then the other thing is we have the Bristol Motor Speedway, which is home to 2 NASCAR races every year, the night race and the dirt race. Are those the same? Probably. My husband would probably be mortified if he heard me talking about this because I should know, because I've been to multiple NASCAR races. That is right. I have slept in a camper on the NASCAR parking lot more than once for a NASCAR Bristol Motor Speedway race. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, if you've ever heard the phrase, "It's Bristol, baby," that's from Dale Earnhardt Jr., and we have NASCAR here. So that's a fun one to do too. That's nothing I ever thought I would say, that I went to a NASCAR race like multiple times and had a ton of fun, but I'm telling you, it's fun. It is fun. So those are sports. Again, I would encourage you, if you're like, Haley, you forgot something. I'm sure I did. But those are the ones, as a Tennessee native, that stick out most to me. So I've gotten a lot of hate over my thoughts on sports on the interwebs. So if I left something out, it's not intentional. Okay, I'm trying my best. All right, number 10, famous Tennessee places. Number 1 is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. This is the most visited national park in the United States. 14 million plus people every year come to visit the Great Smoky Mountains. This includes the Appalachian Mountains, and I am looping things like Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, all into this. Townsend, Wallen, the Cherahole, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying. All the mountain things, I'm looping into the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It is a huge attraction. It is beautiful. It is gorgeous. You gotta go. You gotta come visit it. I'm just telling you, come in the fall, in October, because it is literally. Okay, also, famous places, Dollywood, which to me is very similar to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, because if you were to come stay in Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge or Sevierville, where are you going to go? You're going to go to Dollywood, okay? And it's well worth it. It's super cool. Back in the day, as a kid, we had season passes, and actually, I think I'm the only person in my family right now that doesn't have season passes. I don't have time to go. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you. You know what? I'm not making the time to go, okay? Dollywood, amazing. Grand Ole Opry, Country Music Hall of Fame, both of those are in Nashville. Obviously, we are known for country music, especially in Nashville. More the eastern part of the state is bluegrass, and then in the western part of the state, we've got blues, kind of jazz going on. But Country Music Hall of Fame, Grand Ole Opry, both in Middle Tennessee, and are major destinations for the state. National Civil Rights Museum, that is in Memphis. Super cool museum, amazing place to go visit. I've been there several times, really cool. That is in Memphis. And then something that I think is interesting that I feel like when you travel internationally, in my experience, that I see, like when I studied abroad in London, or like places in Europe, you'll see Jack Daniel's distillery and it'll say Tennessee. Well, that's in Lynchburg, Tennessee, which is more in the middle of the state. So Jack Daniel's distillery. Yes, Jack Daniel's whiskey is from Tennessee. Boom. We also have moonshine. But that's a whole other story. And something else I want to mention for the motorcyclists and car people out there is the Dragon, which is 318 curves over the course of 11 miles. And yes, 11 miles. And it is split between Tennessee and North Carolina, right in the mountains. And I wanted to just mention that because it's a little bit different than some of the other stuff I've been mentioning. But super cool places. Oh my gosh, I forgot almost Graceland. That's the home of yours truly, Elvis Presley. So we have some awesome places to visit in Tennessee. So this concludes our 10 things to know, 10 fast facts, 10 random facts, 10 things you should know if you're studying Tennessee. I hope this has been helpful. If you want more content like this, obviously, please subscribe. And even if you want to spread hate, it helps my engagement. So even if you have hateful comments, go ahead and type them out. I take back what I said. Anyways, I'm Haley Jones. I would love to chat with you. If you have questions about Tennessee, if you want to move here, come on down. Or maybe you're already here in Knoxville and you just like the content. I don't know. But that being said, I'll see you on the next video.